What's going on? It's your boy Lawrence Kane Jr., host of the Money Mondays podcast. Man, it has been a while since we've done an episode, but we are back, and I'm super excited to be back. And there's been a lot of things going on in business and life, but again, you judge each day not by its harvest, but by the seed you sow into it. So, want to definitely, shout out to everybody who's been supporting Abundance University throughout the years. We haven't done a podcast episode in over a year, right? The last one was with my girl Janice Page. Shout out to Janice. Her interview that we did was super, super successful. It actually has the most views in all of our 122, 23 episodes. So, over this, hiatus or this break, we've been in a lot of schools. We have, done a lot of work with University of Cincinnati, Cincinnati Public Schools, and we've been expanding, man. And again, I never want to just do things just to say I did it. So we took a break from the podcast just because we didn't have the time to really make it worth you all's time, right? Like, obviously I can talk about money all day. I do talk about money all day, but when it came to podcasting, honestly, it's just a certain type of value that we want to bring. So today's episode is actually about InvestFest, right? And if you've seen the title, is InvestFest worth the investment? That's the title of this episode. And I went to InvestFest, about a month ago, and I wanted to share my experiences with everybody who was there, and then people who saw it, and they're like, man, it was over 20,000 people, right? And while that looks like a successful event, right, and it was, like, let me not say that it wasn't. It was a successful event according to those who made money or made connections, all of that good stuff. But I wanted to provide my perspective on it, and really get into the details, right? Because when we go to these events, right, there's a ton of business conferences and different events across the country that people are doing, and InvestFest is one of the biggest ones, honestly, right? You had Diddy, you had Robert Smith, you had performances by Jeezy and Jim Jones, and it was a ton of people there, big names that were headlining, right? It almost looked like their flyer was just like a Coachella flyer or a Rolling Loud flyer, right? Just all of these different people there. So I wanted to go last year, but I was actually out of town doing something with my church. So this year, 2023, I was like, I gotta be there, right? Like, I've been in business for myself for 8 years, right, with Abundance University. And then technically, if we want to be technical, this is the first year with the Invest in Black Women brand. So we are, definitely, less than 10 years in, and we've been making good progress. But again, I want to start being in those rooms, right? Like, and as we go through this conversation about InvestFest, you'll see why. Like, I'm glad I went, right? Because it gave me a lot of confirmation about who I am as a person and also who I am as a business owner. So again, we plan to go down there, and like, I want to really talk about it from number one, the experience, and then we'll talk about number two, the financial, right? The investment, right? Was it worth the financial investment to go down there and be a part of InvestFest as just a regular attendee? I wasn't a vendor. I don't like being a vendor at any any event. I don't even like selling merch and stuff at the events that we put on. So I'm just not. I don't like it personally, but I do understand the value, right? So let's talk about again the experience, right? So I get down there a day early. My dad stays in Atlanta, and I was super excited to be down there. I got to rest and spend time with pops, and then the next day, which was that Friday, the only thing with the general admission ticket, you only could get access on Friday to anything that was going on at the vendor marketplace, which that was from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And in the marketplace was also different talks. So Ash Cash, who's a financial guy, he interviewed the rapper Shine, who was signed a bad boy, got in some trouble, but now I think he's like running for office or ran for office somewhere in a different country, wherever his roots are wherever he's from. So I wanted to meet Ash Cash. I bought Ash Cash book, one of his books years ago. I follow him on social media. He's purchased one of my books. So it was just dope to be able to like be in the same room as people that you've been following, right? That was one of the biggest things that I wanted to experience going to InvestFest. I wanted to meet these people, shake their hands, what I mean, just get the vibe, get the energy, right? So I I go by myself the first day, and again, it was just great energy. It was over 100 vendors, right? So you had the vendors that were part of the actual event. So again, Ash Cash had a booth. You had these the other people that were a part of it that were speaking, like Milano, all of those. They had those booths, right? Nikki Saunders, she had a booth, the Deeper Than the Brand booth. So they had their booths, but then it was just a lot of different ones. It was shout out to, there was a couple people from Cincinnati that had booths, that we pulled up on. But it was also just, man, a ton of other vendors, all basically all black vendors, and I mean it was very, very, very like encouraging to see like all this money being, like, people invested in themselves, right? I think to be a vendor, you had to pay like $1,000 minimum, like, to be a part of InvestFest. Which, when you look at the return on your investment, and again, I wasn't a vendor, but just thinking it through, $1,000 to be down there in front of 20,000 real people, right? When you look at Facebook ads, Instagram ads, you pay $1,000, you may get in front, your content might get in front of 20,000 people, but how many of them actually, like, you could talk to, right? So I thought that was phenomenal. Like, what I mean, when they said the entry price started at 1,000, and depending on where you were in the space, which it held, like, it could have been even more vendors. Like, that's how big the space was. Like, so go down there. Friday was phenomenal. I supported some of the vendors, and we'll get into some of that information as we go forward. So that was great. Again, connected with some people, seen some people I knew, all of that good stuff. Now Saturday was the actual, like, conference. That was the workshops. That was still the vendors was going on, things like that. So that was Saturday. I mean, the line was crazy. Like, it was every bit of 20,000 people. Like, it was every bit of 20,000. You felt it, like, just being in the big room, the main room. Like, it was phenomenal, right? Just being a part of that. And I won't bore you with just like every day, hour by hour, but the biggest takeaway from Saturday was, that the value is in the people that want to provide value. Like, if that's what they do for a living, they're going to give you the value. So, like, I sat in Diddy's, I sat in some other workshops that day, and again, I only got value, for me personally, out of the people who, that's what they do, that's the content that they post, right? Like, Diddy didn't provide any more value than I already knew about him. And I don't blame Diddy. I blame the people who interviewed him, right? I blame Earn Your Leisure. Like, it was a great conversation, but like, Diddy already pays you all because y'all already on his platform, and we not on his platform. So what, like, I feel like the question should have been geared towards, thinking about how Diddy views partners, for how does who decides the uh the businesses who get ads and commercials on Revolt TV, stuff like that. Like, what I mean? Like, I'm thinking like that should have been the conversation. But again, a lot of people do things for views, not value. So I understand it. And again, it ain't no knock to, Earn Your Leisure. That's how they interview those type of people. That's usually what they do, right? But like the other moderators, they were asking quite like if somebody else would have interviewed Diddy, I'm pretty sure we would have got that, right? So Saturday was cool. We kicked it. It was a long day. Like every day was long. Like, and they have food trucks and stuff like that, but you better wear some comfortable shoes. And ladies, if you go and it was women in heels, make sure you got them flats too, because it's a lot of walking. It's just a lot, right? It's definitely an exercise. I got my 10,000 steps in every day. Again, and that's with me sitting down for hours at a time to listen to the speakers, right? Sunday comes. Sunday was the most valuable day because I think of who they were being interviewed and what they were asking. So again, like Tabitha Brown was, I think, on Sunday. David Shands with the Social Proof podcast, him and Donnie, they were Sunday. Rich Paul was Sunday. His interview was pretty dope. So again, like I did a mixture. Now the true value was in the vendor marketplace all 3 days. Like if you really trying to like connect with people down there, get your brand out there. People were shooting content. I was actually shooting content for people. Just doing drops for them and things like that. Like that was the dope part about it. That was the dopest part of InvestFest, was connecting with the real people that, again, they trying to build brands too, right? They may have more followers or not, but they were there trying to connect with real people. It was genuine. It wasn't like forced or like just trying to, get in front of people. That was the dope part, right? So I think overall from just the experience standpoint, being able to be in a room with those people, being able to connect with real people, being able to finally meet some of these online, Instagram, people that I follow. It was great, man. Like, and again, I was very excited about that part, right? Now let's get to the financial part. I got my phone. I want to make sure, because I took a picture of all my actions. So I wrote down everything that I spent from me getting to the airport to me getting home from InvestFest, right? So I broke it down. I don't want to go like it's a lot of different expenses, but I just want to be very like brief with it, right? So I was fortunate enough to where I got the early bird ticket. So general admission was $300, but I got the early bird ticket for $250, right? Me and my brother-in-law, we got ours months in advance. So, that wasn't bad. My flight was about $450. Right now, when you look at what the total amount that I pay, I'm talking ticket, flight. I had a little slider with the family car, so I put some gas in that. Food, supporting vendors, I came out less than $1,100, right? It for less than $1,100, I was able to like really enjoy InvestFest. I was able to connect. I supported vendors, and I want to pause here for the vendors, right? And I'm glad I remembered it because I didn't put it in my notes. But there's a guy on social media. Can't think of his name right now, but he's doing really well on social media. Actually, he's a photographer and does a lot of content. So I connected with him because I recognized him from his Instagram videos. He said that he went down there. He went to InvestFest with $2,500 to spend on vendors, and the only thing that they had to do is just ask him to buy something. Like, hey, you want to buy this? You interested in this? He didn't even spend $700. So for those listening and watching this, and you have a business, you have a brand, even if you're trying to get a raise on your job, if you're trying to get a new job, like, you got to ask people. Like, what's the point of talking to people if you're not going to ask? Like, that people coming up to you, they're interested in what you do, but you don't even ask them, hey, you want to buy my shirt? Like, are you interested in buying this? And I had to check myself about it too, because I was like, man, I really don't do a lot of asking. Even on my social media platforms, I post a lot of content, but I don't do a call to action. I don't say follow me. I don't say, share this post. I don't say shop now. Sometimes I do, but it's not consistent enough. So for those who have a brand, I'm telling you, ask, because the worst you can get is a no. Like literally, like that's the worst you can get. And for somebody like him, he was gonna say yes regardless of who it was, because his mindset was he wanted to see how many people were going to, like, ask him for the sale, right? So just wanted to slide that in, man. But again, going off of this, man, I spent the most on the getting down there, all of that stuff. I mean, food, I spent less on food than I did supporting the vendors. Very happy about that. But then when you say, like, was InvestFest worth the investment? For me, I believe it is, because number one, I wouldn't be doing this video if it wasn't for InvestFest. It really, like David Shands and the Social Proof podcast, I've already been following him, and his workshop, along with like Nikki's and Tabitha Brown's, like theirs were very impactful on, like, quit playing and do what you normally do. Like, get back to it what your business really needs from you, right? And that was so profound for me. It came at the right time, because business has been very volatile. Um, for 2023 for us, just because of certain contracts didn't do what they needed to do. And I want to take back ownership of controlling what I can control. And I can control recording a podcast. I can record. I can control being in the community and doing workshops every month and things like stuff that really got our name out there in the first place. And we went away from that because we were getting, the contracts and things like that. And I know we're going to continue to get the contracts, but I still want to be that grassroots. Like, let's continue to do that. So that's why, even going forward, so we're in September, October, we're going to start back doing monthly workshops. So we're going to be doing one for adults, and we're going to be doing one. We're going to cater it to high school seniors, right? That's going to be our focal point for that. And we're going to do Proud to Pay. So you can literally pay $1 to get access to the webinar. So I'm super excited about that. So you definitely, if you're not already following Abundance University, already following me on social media at Lawrence Kane Jr., definitely do, because we're going to be posting that information actually the week of this podcast episode dropping. So super excited about that, man. But I believe that InvestFest, if you are now, I also want to talk about, like, what I would do differently. I think the main thing I would do differently is I would make sure I have enough energy to go to the, because they had two rooms, and I think the value of the other room, the Fidelity sponsor room, that was the one that probably had the most value in it, as far as the presenters, the facilitators, and moderators. I think I would be very strategic on which ones I really want to go to. I would spend a lot of time, connecting with um, more of the vendors. Like, I connected with some of the vendors that I shop with, obviously, but like, I didn't go to every vendor to, like, really connect with them and, like, make my mark. Like, I brought business cards and stuff like that. So that was cool. So I think I would do that. I would definitely pack my own lunch, because the vendors, as far as the trucks and the food vendors, y'all know me. I'm Mr. There's Food at Home. So I knew I had to spend money, but like, certain ones I spent throughout the day weren't worth it. So I would definitely pack, and I could do that, right? Because my people stay in Atlanta, right? And if they do it in Atlanta again, I'm gonna have access to to a kitchen, so I'll be able to do that. And then I definitely will. I'm considering doing the VIP. So the VIP was an extra like 1,500. I would do VIP for the seating, because I feel like if I'm gonna sit, like, it was crazy getting to, like, a good seat there, because again, it's 20,000 people, and I was coming from South Atlanta. So I didn't stay downtown. If I stayed downtown, maybe I would have, got there earlier. But getting a seat, I like, certain times I felt like, man, I could have just got you know, the replays. You know what I'm saying? Like that, if I'm gonna sit back here, you know what I'm saying, or if I ain't gonna be engaged. So I would do the VIP, because I would love to, like, connect with those type of people. Sometimes, again, those are the people that, like, maybe more serious. Those are the people that, they may, like, for me, doing financial education, I can go into different groups, right? If they have employees, I can be doing financial wellness for their employees. I can be their one-on-one financial coach, right? Like I'm working on the Patreon right now, right? So we're going to be dropping that soon. So I can be funneling their employees to the Patreon. I can be funneling them to the Patreon. So I got a lot of opportunity in the VIP, and just the seating and the experience of like Friday evening was the VIP night. So, it was some people that was there on Friday that wasn't there the rest of the weekend. So I mean, but other than that, man, I'm telling you, if you've seen, bad things about Invest Fest, everybody's experience is different. I wanted to provide mine. I believe it was worth the investment, regardless of, again, people were late and, things just didn't run accordingly. But like, I run events, so like, I understand that things don't happen like that. Um, but the mindset to have this big event for Black people that want to be better and for their economy, their family economy, their community economy, man, it ain't nothing. You can't hate on that, man. It was phenomenal. And again, everybody didn't have to pay $1,800 for the VIP. I got in for $250, and people was coming up to me because I had the brand on, and people was, like, it was a vibe. So I was super excited, and to see Jeezy perform, like, I got all of that for $250, man. Like, that came with it. Like, so I'll, again, you pay what you weigh, and you got to go into these events knowing what you want out of it, and connecting with the right people. So I'm super excited about it. And I'm super excited that I went because, again, now I'm back podcasting and I'm about to turn up. So, we got a vision for what we're going to do. Again, again, out of 120 plus episodes, we really only have about 10 of them that have, the video with it. So now we're back doing video and audio. We're going to be pushing this out. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, right? The Money Mondays podcast, wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Money Mondays podcast _ man, I'm just excited, man. So, and if you went to Invest Fest and you see, this video, or you hear this audio, you let me know how you felt, and let's connect, man. Like, again, we got to build with the builders. So let's continue to build, man. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited that we are, regardless of how this year has been for you, we are still in it, man, to win it. So let's continue to build. And remember, financial success that happens on purpose, and success does not visit the lazy. God bless.